Hello and welcome to Race Country Cottage, week 34. Thanks for joining me. Wasn't sure I was going to do a video this week, but there's been a bit of activity, so I captured a little bit of it. Thought I'd share it with you. Fortunately, I wasn't here all week because ended up in emergency a couple of times at our local hospital and then went in the Carport for a day at the hospital. There's some medical problem, a residual issue from prostate cancer treatment a few years ago, but back at it again. It's Sunday, the 8th of December. It's hopefully the end of the second last week of the build, but maybe a week and a half left. We'll see what next week brings. Late Sunday afternoon, we've been busy running around all day. Our builder's on a weekend off, and some tradespeople needed bits and pieces here, so we went to Mukdahan to get things so they could get items finished, so we're not waiting another week for things to happen. So what happened this week? So all the lighting and electrical have all but been finished. Breakers are all in, the voltage regulator's in, all the lights and switches. It's just one floor plug and one wall switch yet to be installed, just waiting for parts. So they chiseled out some sidewalk where they forgot to connect a water pipe, relayed the concrete, and got a pad for the water tank. So all the bathroom fixtures were installed this week, so just the plumbing to be done next week. Hopefully they'll be installing the toilets and the water tank and the water pump and making sure waterworks are all happening. So that'll be good, power and water. I think we're all but done. So just a lot of tidying up around the build site, a lot of little projects happened and got concluded, which covered in this week's video. So just the things to be done next week. There's a bit of a list that I'll go through at the end of the video. So thanks for joining us. I'm a bit worn out and a bit tired. And so looking forward to the end of this construction and all the end of construction hassles that happen. Anyway, come along and see what happened this week. Cheers, thanks. So this week I thought I'd start with a bit of information on fencing the property. So we signed an agreement with the fencing contractor, and we're going to do about 110 meters of cowboy fence. That's the 3-rail fence to the front, east and south side. And then we've got about 130 meters of mesh fence on the north and west side of the house. So here the boys have established a corner post, and they're measured out and digging all the post holes with this auger. As you can see, the front of the house, the post holes are all dug. So they're 50 centimeters into the ground. The posts will be 1.2 above the ground. Here you can see the posts and the 3 rails. We like it. It's a cowboy kind of fence, so they call it. Nice country look. It'll have mesh on it as well to keep the dogs in and other dogs out. Then it was on to the other side of the house, the south side. Do the same thing, dig the holes and put the posts in. They're all cemented in the ground. And then, once they're in place, that they then put the rails, these 3 rails, into the slots on the fence. And just keep going. You can see the string line on the top of the fence, so they had a string line out to make sure that the height was consistent as well as the line was straight. And there you can just see a shot of the fence on top, or the string line on top, and there's the south side fence going in. Just a shot of the boys at work. Anybody who's not seen this cowboy fence, it's relatively popular in this part of Visan. And I haven't seen it so much in other parts of Thailand. And then they got on to the north side of the house where they were doing the posts for the mesh fence. And here you can see the posts are in. So just a quick video Sunday morning to just highlight the house, but particularly you can get a view of the fences at the front and south side, as well as the poles on the south side. Over the next couple of weeks they'll work their way around to the west, the back side, and connect the fence all around. Be painted the same color as the house, and then it was on to lighting infrastructure this week. So our electrician and his team were back on site, installed the light over the back door to the kitchen, and then they put the lights on the posts around the porches, and then installed the LED ceiling lights both on the back and front porches as well as inside the house. And then there was a house lit up at night to have a look at what it was like, so no shortage of light. And just a shot of track lights on the wall. There'll be some paintings there. The lighting down the hallway at night, and the LEDs in the bathroom, so it's very, very bright, no question about that. Then the electrician installed some strip lighting underneath and on top of this bank of kitchen cabinets, just for good lighting on the counter and a bit of ambient light for the evening. Should look nice when it's finished. Also installed smoke detectors, one in the kitchen and one in the hallway to the bedrooms. And then it was on to installing the exhaust fan over the kitchen hob cooker. So it's a Mex set of appliances. And I drilled and mounted the exhaust system, and that's what it looks like when it's finished. So digital, works and sounds quite well. Then they were on to the consumer boxes. This is where all the breakers are, and there's 2 boxes. And now on the floor is the power regulator, so the voltage regulator. So it's going to control the voltage distribution into the house. So that's all the wires from around the house that come into the utility room. First they're going to install the voltage regulator, so we're just drilling to set up the mount. And just making sure that the bolts are tight, and then they get this unit up on the wall. Then they have to cut the ends of the bolts off because they're sticking out a bit too far. And there we have the unit on the wall. Very neat and tidy. It'll just sit underneath the consumer boxes or the breaker boxes. So here they are installing the consumer box, or breaker box, some people call it. Pulling all the wires from around the house through and into this box. There'll be 2 boxes on the wall. And the smaller box will be for the 3 hot water heaters in the 2 bathrooms and under the kitchen sink. Then they got around to putting in the grounding rod, 2.5 meter copper post that was pounded into the ground, and then the ground wire was connected to it, as you can see here, and then it was backfilled with concrete. It'll be covered with dirt. And then you see the voltage regulator and the 2 breaker boxes all done, wired and working properly. And that's just a shot of the box. So here you can see the input voltage on the top, and then the distribution voltage in the middle, percentage of consumer power being used. And it was on to the painters. They came back just to do the final touches, and so they had to do the black around the bottom that wasn't covered in brick and some second coat of some areas of the house. So they were here for a couple of days this week to finish off. I think they're generally done, and maybe just kind of a day's touch up here and there when everything's finished. Then they cut a access hole in the utility room up to get into the ceiling space for surfaces and so on. So that was the access hole that they created. And then it was on to some waterworks preparation. So here the builders using the vibrator to compact the area where the water tank will sit. Pad needs to be poured to hold the tank. They also needed to knock out a portion of the sidewalk that there was a water inlet pipe meant to be connected, and it wasn't when the sidewalk was poured, so they had to take out this whole bit of sidewalk to ultimately connect the pipe. And here they're doing formwork for the pads and for the sidewalk and an area of concrete that was forgotten in the first pour. So the formwork in place, ready for the concrete truck to come and fill it up. So the driver discharged the concrete into these forms, and the team, 3 young fellas, pulling it around, and the Tyler is doing the work. He's the one that's finishing the concrete today on this pour. Luckily the weather's wonderful. Hasn't rained in a number of weeks, so just as the concrete comes out of the truck, they move it around, and then it's ready, troweled out and finished and all set to dry. So looks pretty good. Happy with the pour, happy with the results. And that was enough, and took us on to a lovely evening sunset over the back of the property. Then we're on to bathroom fixtures. So the Tyler is also the fellow installing the plumbing and bathroom fixtures. Here they're putting in the vanity in the spare bathroom. It's a cabinet and sink combination. It's kind of brown on the front, matches the feature wall. So here they're just having a look at seeing whether they can get the drawer out. It's good to see that he's got a level on the back to make sure the vanity's is level. As you can see here, this guy's really good at making sure things are square and level. So he had to drill and install the mirror and put in the sinks and the taps and the towel racks and various other things in both bathrooms, and 3 bathrooms. So that's the sink and tap and mirror and towel rack. Here he's just looking to install a cabinet over the vanity and the half bath utility room. So yesterday the team put most of everything into the bathrooms. We've got our cabinet and sink and the mirror on the wall. The hanger, the fan switch, and then over this way is the towel rack. Another towel rack behind the door. So the shower, rain shower and heater are yet to be installed. And then in the master bathroom, similar, we've got the sink installed on the counter and the taps, the mirror, and the towel rack, and obviously the rain shower is yet to be installed. So that takes us to the end of another day, with the moon hanging over the sunset. Then just team was working on the geotech fabric around the edge of the house where there'll be a gravel edge. So limestone gravel will go in along this space between the foundation and the sidewalk. So they're laying down a geotech fabric so weeds don't grow up. And they're securing the fabric with a cement board to the sidewalk and to the side of the house. Hopefully next week the gravel will arrive and be set out in these trenches. So just a nice finish on the side of the house. I think it'll make it look particularly good. Bit of a landscaping artistic feature. And then it was on to the Carport breeze block installation. So you can see the bricks laid out on the ground. It's a kind of an aerated 40 by 40 centimeter block. And these are the beams that'll frame this wall, as you see, putting out the first course. So it'll be 7 bricks high, and there'll be a kind of a 1 meter doorway in it to get into the carport. So a layer of cement mortar down, and then the bricks set into it. It's got string line out to make sure everything's correct and level and in the order it's supposed to be. And they're also framing it by putting up these metal posts between the two sections, and there'll be metal on top as well, and rebar welded from the metal and strung through the concrete to make it particularly strong. So now he's up 2 levels of the wall and on to the 3rd level. Taking his time to make sure every block's in place and level, so now we're up to 4. And then there we are at 7, all complete. And here he's just cutting the metal to fit on the top of the frame. Lots of sparks are flying here this afternoon, doing this cut and put it in place. The idea was just to kind of separate the carport from the house, and I think it does a nice job and will look good. So that's it pretty well for this week. There's obviously the last week, maybe a week and a half left. A lot of things to do, the plumbing and water tank, showers, finish the breeze block, testing plumbing, electricity, clean up and deep clean of the house. So we'll be back and talk to you whenever the house is finished. Thanks for joining me.